And here's our pool, and we're getting ready now to do some of the final stages of closing the pool. What we've already done, step one is clean the pool. So we have vacuumed the bottom is spotless, clean around the sides a little bit, and so the pool water is clean and clear. Make sure it's chlorinated, all ready for a long time of sleeping, if you like, hibernation over the winter. And then the next thing you need to do is to lower the water level. Yep, you got to lower the water level. Now you can do that in a variety of ways. First thing you can do is simply run the filter. Run your filter, and the water will go out through the skimmer as it usually does, or out of the main drain down there at the bottom. You can go out of either one of those points, and you suck the water out of the pool. And at the same time as you're doing that, you can use that water, of course, to clean the filter, backwash the filter, and to rinse the filter and rinse all the lines. Otherwise, the water just goes to waste. And then you got to keep taking water out of the pool. And again, you can use the pool pump for a lot of that, but eventually you may find you'll need a water pump of some sort. Even just one of those little cheap plug-in water pumps with a garden hose on it will do the trick. Or what we often use is our own vacuum hose. We get our own vacuum hose, which is an inch or inch and a half diameter, and we start a siphon on it. You can see we have a hill here. We start a siphon on our vacuum hose and put it over the side, and then we go and have a bite to eat or do some other job for a half an hour, 45 minutes. When we come back and the pool water is lowered. How low do you want the pool water? Well, certainly you need to have the pool water lower than the skimmer. And you can see the skimmer there now over on the side wall. You can see, so we're several inches, probably 6 to 8 inches below the level of the skimmer. But more important, and the real reason and what determines how much water you take out are the jets, the return jets. We have two in our pool. It's not a big pool. We have two return jets, one at the front corner here and one way down there at the far corner. So you want to get the water level below the jets. Got to be below the jets. Probably, 2 or 3 inches at least below the water jets. You do not want any water in those jets because those jets connect to the underground pipes that lead back to the filter. And even if they're 2 or 3 feet underground in extremely cold weather, those pipes can freeze. You want no water in the jets. So that's the next thing you do after you've cleaned the pool. Lower the water level and make sure it's below the jets. Now, after you've done that, you also need to make sure you get all the water out of those jets. So let me show you how we do that. This is our system. It's a very simple system, although I complicated it a little bit a while ago by putting on a solar heater. If you go back through our videos, Alec, Peirce at the Ranch, you'll find out about our solar heater. But otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward system. So find the closest pipe to your jets in the pool that you can access. It may be, very commonly, it may be right here. If you take this fitting off the heater, take that off, there's an opening in there, and that opening normally goes straight back to the pool. So you can undo this, and that pipe goes straight to the pool. We have on ours, we have a chlorinator that we use sometimes as well. So I have another opening right here in that same pipe that I can use. What do I do? Well, it's really very simple. Take the cap off of that opening, and then, sorry about the jiggling around here, and then what you do is you take your vacuum cleaner, your shop vac, and stick it down that pipe. Stick it straight down that pipe, just that simple. Okay, now, once the shop vac is down in there, and you can actually use a wet rag to seal it a bit if you need to, but get it down inside there. It'll build up pressure anyway. Turn on the shop vac, and I'll show you what happens. So, folks, as I said earlier, you need to find the last or the closest opening before your return jets in the pool. It could be your heater opening, or in our case, we have another opening back here. And once you get that cap off, put antifreeze down it. Put some antifreeze down, pool antifreeze. Put your shop vac blower side into there and turn it on. Now, Diane, you step outside and show them that jet. You see what's coming out of it. There you can see antifreeze coming out of the jet, and the same with the jet at the far end. Once you have antifreeze coming out of both jets, you know two things. First of all, you know that the water that was in those lines is gone. Secondly, you know that there's antifreeze in those lines. That's all good. So what's next? Okay, so we now know that those return lines have no water in them. In fact, they have antifreeze in them, so they're not going to freeze. Okay, what do you do next? Well, what you do next is take the jet cover off. Most of these will have a jet cover of some sort. It might be a two-piece like this. These are very common. A little ball, so it makes the water shoot out hard and fast with a cap to hold it on. So you take that off. So now you have access to the big hole. Now, get some of this neat stuff. This is actually weather stripping, which you can pick up anywhere. Any Home Depot, most hardware stores. It's a foam weather stripping in this cord shape. And you just get a piece and put it in there as far as you can. This one's not going very far. There we go, yep. So you put that in there and stuff it in with your finger as far as you can. That's about it. Tear off what you don't need. Okay, that's stuffed in there. And now, a plumbing fitting, a standard 1.5 inch plumbing fitting will fit right into there. Get that plumbing fitting, put some Teflon tape on it, and scoot in there nice and snugly. Now what you've done is you have trapped the antifreeze in there. That foam that you put in there, if there is any little bit of residual water, it starts to freeze, the foam will get crushed. And the foam will crush. Instead of the pipe expanding and breaking, the foam will be crushed inside there. You don't really need that too badly, but it's not a bad idea. Okay, I'm going to get both of mine done, and then I'll be right back to you. Okay, so here I am. I'm at the second return jet now. Let me show you how that's done. You take off that main outside cover, first of all. Just like that. And then there is another fitting underneath that. This threaded part, it actually comes out too. For that, you need a special little tool. You can pick it up at your pool shop. Whoever you had the pool installed by, or any pool shop will have that. That fits into that and allows you with a screwdriver or anything flat, you see it fits across those, to undo that other part. Let me just show you what I just did with that tool. This is another threaded part that screws into that return jet. See? So there's actually 3 pieces to your return jet. This fits into the hole in the wall, and then there's the ball, which fits there. That's the ball that directs the water any direction you want it. And then this goes over top to make the whole thing look pretty. You can make the water go up or down or left or right, wherever you want to later. So it's actually a 3-piece cover over top of that. Now, where this piece just came out is where your plug is going to go in. Just a standard 1.25 inches, I think it's 1.25 inches, plumbing plug with some Teflon tape wrapped on it. But before you put that on, get some of that weather stripping, that round foam weather stripping, and put it up in there, feed it up into the pipe like so. There you go, just like that. Not too far, don't jam it in, because you get that out in the spring. And then take your Teflon taped plug, put that in there like so, and you want it tight, but you don't want to break anything. So put it in there snugly, about like that. Good. And that's just about that simple. So now your return jets are empty of water. We blew them out. We put some antifreeze in, blew a little bit more until we saw antifreeze coming out of each one. It'll come out of the one closest to the pump house first, and when it starts to come out there, just plug it with your finger, and then the antifreeze will keep going until it finally comes out of this jet, return jet, which is farthest from the pump house. When you've got a bit of antifreeze coming in each one of them, you know that there's no water and there's antifreeze in it. Then take off the covers, put in the foam, and put the Teflon tape plug. The return jets, your return lines underground, your return jets are closed up, antifreeze, and safe. You've done the 2 return lines. Next is the skimmer. This is where the water goes from the pool back to the pump. It's clean and conducted to the jet. So come over here, Di, take a look at the skimmer. Now the skimmer, in most systems, is also connected to the main drain down at the bottom of the pool. The main drain is simply a hole in the bottom of the pool with a pipe that comes over, and that pipe comes up into the skimmer. Take the lid off the skimmer and pull out your skimmer basket full of flies and all kinds of junk, and look down in there, Di, you see 2 holes. That left-hand hole is from the main drain in the bottom of the pool. The right-hand hole goes back to the pump. So the pump is sucking water back through the filter. And the water comes out of the pool and gets cleaned and so on. And some of the water is sucked up from the main drain too. So we have 2 holes in here. Now, all you need for this is a plug for one of the holes. Both holes are threaded, just like those return jets. A plug for one of the holes. You can actually get a plug for 2 holes. But what I've been using lately is just a neat little gizmo. Now, you think I'm kidding when I say gizmo. No, it's the name of it. It's actually called gizmo. And all this is, this goes into the other hole, you see. Instead of using 2 plugs, I use 1 plug, and I put this down in the main drain too, because the main drains are a little bit of an issue. As snow and rain and water goes down, comes down, you can actually go into the main drain and slowly fill that pipe up. So the potential for damage is there. But with this gizmo, which is just a plastic bottle closed down in there, as some water goes down in and it starts to freeze, this will collapse. Instead of the pipe, this skimmer device, instead of it cracking by pressure going out, any freezing ice, any freezing water and ice will squeeze this, and that will protect the skimmer. So I thought that was a good idea, that gizmo. So here's what you need. But first of all, we have to clean the water out of that return line and put some antifreeze in it. That pipe is underground here. We've got to clean the water out of that and put some antifreeze in. So we have to go back into the pool room for just a moment. Let's do that. There's a pipe that comes from underground and comes into the pool room, and it's marked from the pool. Well, that pipe actually goes back to that skimmer we just saw. So from the pool comes in around this elbow, through this fitting, and into the pump. This is the pump, the little pre-filter basket's in here, the motor's there, and then the water goes into the filter to be cleaned. So we have to open this up. So just unscrew this. I have it loose already. Unscrew this, and that exposes the end of that pipe. So this is the end of the pipe right there that goes back to the skimmer. Let's blow it out first. Diana, I'm going to turn this on. I want you to go out and take a short picture of the skimmer so folks can see the air that's bubbling out of it. So I put the back hose blower in down inside that pipe and turn it on, and you go and watch. Okay, so now we're looking down inside the skimmer, and you can see the 3 things. Number 1, there are 2 holes. The left-hand hole you're looking at is the return from the main drain. Then I have put some antifreeze down that hole. I have put a piece of foam, expansion foam, into the hole, and I plugged the hole with a Teflon taped plug. And then you'll also see that the other hole has that neat gizmo. Same thing. I put antifreeze down that hole. That's the one we blew out, and we blew antifreeze through it. I put some more antifreeze in, and then I put the I put foam, expansion foam down into it, that expansion foam that I've shown you, down into it, a nice long piece, about 1 foot long. Then I screwed in the gizmo, Teflon taped again, nice and tightly. And then you can see the 3rd thing, antifreeze. You can see that there's antifreeze in it. Don't be afraid. As I mentioned, antifreeze is cheap. And, you don't want anything to freeze, that's for sure. That goes in like that, and this goes back on, like so. No point having this. This is just to keep bugs from when the pump is sucking water from the skimmer. You don't need that. Take that and store it safely inside the garage. Okay, we're almost done. We've got the return lines, the jets, plugged, cleared of water, antifreeze and foam. Done. And now we have the skimmer and main drain. Full of antifreeze, water out of them, expansion foam, and plugged. Last step, step 3, and you're done. In the pump room, we have 2 things. We have the actual pump itself, that little basket, that pre-pump basket that catches big stuff, frogs and things like that in there, and the pump and the motor. And then we also have the filter itself, the actual filter. Okay, what are we doing here? Well, it takes several minutes, a little bit of time for the filter to drain completely out. So why don't you take the cap off the bottom of the filter and let that water drain while we do the other things. Around the back or somewhere on your filter, down near the bottom, you'll find a black cap, usually a black cap. Let's see if I can find it. Yep, there's mine right there. So, that's on there pretty tightly. Just undo that black cap. Just that simple. There it is. Black cap with a rubber gasket inside. And you can't see it, I don't think, but out the back of the filter now, water is now coming out. Now, to speed that up, make sure that your filter is open. So set the switch between filter and rinse and wash so that it's not in one of the grooves. That actually lets air in so the water goes out faster. Now we have to do so that's the filter. Once you drain the filter, it's done, pretty much. So the other thing you have to do now is the pump itself. The pump has already been disconnected. Remember earlier we disconnected the line that comes from the pool, from the skimmer. This is the one we poured antifreeze down and blew through it. Okay, it comes into here, and then there's another line that goes from the pump itself into the filter. So it draws water from the pool and pushes it into the filter. We'll take that line off there as well, like this. It's on there snugly, sealed with a big O-ring. And it's been sitting all summer long, of course. So there's your big O-ring, and there's the thread there. Of course, before we put this back together in the spring, maybe I'll do that too, Diane, and show them how to open the pool. So take that off of there, and it goes to the filter, and now your pump just comes like that. The pump is, of course, wired to your timer and switch, just so easy. There's your pump. Now, in order to get the pump ready for winter, pull it out so you can work on it a little bit, if you can. Just makes it easier if you can actually work on it. Open up that pre-filter, get the gasket out. It's good to take the gasket out because the gasket, if it stays compressed all the time, and it usually does, it'll just wear out faster. Now pull out that pre-filter. Oh my goodness, lots of junk in there. I know that Diana has been vacuuming the pool, and that's where all it, when you vacuum, that's where it goes. Take a look. So take that out of there. Now this is full of water. That's water. Water freezes. Yes, it does. But if you look down the side, right down here, you'll find a drain plug. How about that? As a matter of fact, there's two of them. Just to be sure that the water comes out of there, there's two of them. There's one at the front too. Take out those two drain plugs, and all the water comes out of the actual pump. The drain plugs actually go to different areas. This drain plug here actually is emptying this big basin at the front, where that pre-filter is. The other drain plug actually goes into the bottom of the pump. The pump is a separate piece right in here. So make sure that the pump is actually drained out. So drain that water out of there. Make sure it's clean at the same time. I always take a few minutes to clean it as much as I can. Drain all that water out of there, like so. Good. Good, that's all gone. And that's all gone. And then what I do, two things. I put these plugs back in. That's good because you don't lose the blood. I just put them in loosely, not too tightly. I put them back in like so. And then you know what I do? What did I say earlier about antifreeze? It's cheap. It's cheap. We're not talking alcohol here. It's not alcohol you can drink anyway. It's cheap. Why not? It's cheap. And that if there's any residual water in there, that will keep that from freezing up. Then I usually keep the gasket out, but I usually put the cover back on. I like to have that cover on over the winter. So just set the cover on like that, pull it up, don't jam it down tighty, just like that. Done. Pump. Ready for the winter. All you have to do is shut off the hydro and let her sit. Nothing can happen to the pump. Put this gasket, don't hang it on something. If you hang it like that, it'll get stretched. Keep that gasket somewhere safe and flat. You can clean it, or you can buy a new one if you would like to. That gasket is a special gasket. When you take a look at it, you'll see what I mean. Lay it somewhere flat, and keep it safe. The pump, well, it's still draining over there. Just about that easy. Pump's almost done. At the very back of the pump, you should find two things. On the very back of the pump, you'll find a pressure gauge. Now the pressure gauge, believe it or not, is only hand tight because it's a pipe thread, a 1/4 inch pipe thread with Teflon tape on it. Take the pressure gauge out. It's one more opening into the pump valve. So air is in there. Any water that might be in there is drained. Take that out and set it to one side. And also, the same spot you'll find down there, there's a little sight glass. Which I think is a joke because, well, I guess it's all right, but you can't really see it too well. This is actually so that when you're back, you probably know this, when you're back washing and the dirty water comes out, you can see the dirty water going through this before it's goes to waste. And you watch and you watch and you watch and find that the water goes clean. When it goes clean, then you know that the filter is backwashed well enough. Take that out too, because there might be some water trapped in there. And just be careful. Underneath that glass bottle, there is a gasket. Little flat gasket, looks like this. Don't lose that. So you take the gauge out, take the little sight bottle out, and your pump is ready. Again, there is a winter setting on here. So you can put it on the winter setting. It's perfectly fine. I don't usually. I just put it between one of the two areas that aren't pumping and aren't going to waste. Now I also disconnect the heater. I disconnect the heater because the heater has water in it too. Water comes out of the pump, goes into the heater, gets warm, and then goes up to the pool. So I disconnect the heater as well. Let me see if I can do this by hand. Oh yes, it looks like I can. So the heater has two fittings on it, of course, because the water goes in, and then the water has to come back up. So I always undo those two fittings. Like so. Undo them. I like to have everything nice and open. Water can't get trapped and everything else. So you see, just like that. But in addition to that, underneath one of these fittings, just one of them, you'll find, guess what? Another drain plug. Yeah. There you go, guys. Your pool is closed. Just so simple. So essentially what happens is you lower the water below the jets, blow the water out of the jets through the underground pipes, put some antifreeze in, and then plug them. And then you blow water through the skimmer hose. That's the hose coming back to the pump from the skimmer. Blow the water out of that. Put some antifreeze in. Plug that in. Drain the pump. Disconnect the heater. Take the plug out. Take the two plugs out of the pump. In my case, take all the water out. And it's time to go for a drink. Oh boy, what did that take? Did that take a half hour? Well, maybe 45 minutes. Now, of course, we still have to cover the pool. Up here in Canada, where I am, where we are, we actually cover the pool. So we have just a very heavy tarp. It's basically just a heavy tarp that we put in, push it down so it sits on the surface of the water, and we hold it down with pipes. I think we did a video on that, didn't we?
I think so.
I think so. You go back and see. We put that on the pool, and it's done. But that's it for today. I'm done, Diana. I'm sorry, kid. I'm going for a drink and walk around a little bit. Anyway, there you go, folks. That's how easy it is. I'm not sure if that's worth $200. If you want to pay somebody $200 for it, I like to do it. I learn a lot. I see if there's problems. I understand how it works, and I really enjoy the whole process and save money to you. What the heck? Okay, Alec, Peirce at the ranch. How to close your own pool. Talk to you soon. It's springtime. 6 months. I'll show you how to open your own pool. Bye-bye.